I didn't go looking. I didn't snoop. I was in the conference room juggling 2 PowerPoint decks and a plate of stale muffins trying to get the HDMI to stop yelling no signal when the notification popped up in the corner of the screen like a slap. Charity case. Did you see Jay stayed until 9 again? Lol, just pile the returns on her desk. She'll cry about her mom and then say yes. I froze. I was alone in the room, but I swear it got quieter. Even the old AC unit sounded like it was holding its breath. The laptop wasn't mine. It was Tom's. He had asked me to set up the client slides because he was slammed. I never hesitated. I say yes a lot. That's my thing apparently. I blinked like maybe if I blinked slow enough the words would rearrange themselves into something less mean. They didn't. Another preview popped up like a parade of nasty little secrets. Make Jay do the invoices. She likes busy work. M, don't tell her about the lunch until it's over. She'll want to come. D, I knew those initials. M was Mia, D was Dana. The name of the group chat sat there in bold like a joke I wasn't in on. Charity case. I felt sick. My name is Jenna, but around here I guess I am Charity. My first thought was turn it off. Turn the screen off, plug the HDMI out, close the whole thing. My hand floated over the trackpad like it belonged to someone else. Another message popped up with that soft ping that I suddenly hated. Ask Jay to cover the inbox tonight. Tell her it's for the client. She can't say no to the word client. N would be Nick, my boss. Of course it was. The sting of it wasn't even the content. It was seeing their names all lined up like a team I used to think I was on. I looked at the door. It was still closed. I looked back at the glowing, ugly little rectangle of the chat preview. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I don't regret it either. I took my phone out. My hands were shaking. I snapped a picture, then another. The room hummed, the screen pinged again, and I was moving without thinking, hitting the trackpad, the tiny chat window opening like a bright wound. Inside the chat were days, weeks. There were jokes and memes, and right in the middle there was me. J. She. The martyr. It wasn't confusing, it was very clear. Did she bring another lasagna? Who is she trying to impress now? Tell her the meeting moved, she'll end up doing the minutes anyway. Lol, she thinks we're friends. I breathed in, out. My face felt hot and numb at the same time. I scrolled. There were screenshots of emails I wrote with my typing picked apart like it was a sport. There were photos of my whiteboard with my to-do list when I was out of the room. One message had a picture of my desk where I keep a little note from my mom that says, "You are enough." Under it someone had typed, "She writes notes to herself now, Elmau." There were laughing faces everywhere. I had never felt so slow in my life, like I was wading through syrup while the words flew around me. I took pictures of the worst ones. My hands remembered what to do even as my head wanted to sit on the carpet and stop existing. Another ping. Is she still there? Can you tell her to run the copies? We still have 10. My Uber is here. Use the mom thing if you have to. She eats that up. That one splintered something in me. The mom thing. My mom has been sick. She needs rides and early mornings and late hospital chairs. I have been doing them all. And I have been saying yes at work because I am scared to say no, because I am scared to be seen as the problem. I thought that was me being strong. They called it a thing, a tool, a lever. I didn't cry, not then. I stood very still and I made myself read the names in the chat list at the top even though I already knew them. There they were. Tom, Mia, Dana, Nick. Even Lena from HR had a little circle there. It was like watching a door lock from the inside. There is a special kind of quiet you feel when the truth finally lines up with your gut. I had felt off for months. I thought I was being paranoid. I thought I was tired or too sensitive or a little dramatic. It turns out I was just right. That quiet started in my chest and spread out like warm water. I took a long, shaky breath, then I got to work. The HDMI finally came to life. The slides popped up. I checked the timing. I texted our client to confirm their arrival. I answered the group email, all set in the conference room. My fingers typed without any of me in them, and I took my calm face and I put it on like a mask and I left the room. I didn't pass anybody in the hall, which was a gift. In the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and I sat on the closed toilet lid and I felt the cool tile under my sneakers and I let out one hard, ugly sob and then I swallowed the rest. I had work to do. I had a mom to pick up at noon from her appointment. I didn't have time to spin out. When I came back, they were already there. Laughing, spilling coffee and pretending they were busy. Their faces looked like their faces. Nick slapped my shoulder and said, "You're a lifesaver, Jay." Tom gave me a thumbs up like he was 12. I thought about the chat buzzing in their pockets, right then maybe sending a fresh little joke about me. My cheeks burned, my mask held. The client meeting went smooth. It always does because I make it smooth. I take notes. I follow up. I write the parts no one wants to write. I stayed in the corner, the good helper in the shadows like always. When it was over, I sent the recap to everyone, including Lena in HR. I watched her nod as the client left, watched her smile at me like I was a good dog, and I decided right in that moment I was done. I called my mom from my car and told her I might be late. She said, "Work again?" I said, "Yes, but it won't be like this forever." She laughed like she didn't believe me, and I didn't blame her. I hung up and then called IT. I didn't tell IT much. I didn't scream. I asked a simple question in a simple voice. If I have screenshots of a company chat where people are making fun of me and planning to dump work on me, is there a policy on that? The IT guy got very quiet and then said, you should talk to HR. I can't advise. Fine. I walked upstairs to HR and I asked to talk to Lena. She ushered me in with her regular bright smile. I sat down, I put my phone on her desk. I scrolled to the part of the chat that had her name above a little laughing emoji. Lol, she is so easy to guilt. Just say team player and she folds. Lena's face went cold. She put a hand to her mouth. She started to say something and then stopped. Then she started again. Jenna, where did you get this? From Tom's laptop. He asked me to set up his deck. It popped up on the screen, I said. I kept my voice calm. I didn't tell her that I opened it. I didn't tell her that I took 50 pictures. I didn't say the word charity case because I didn't have to. It was right there in the header of the chat in bright blue. Lena sucked in a hiss of air and then made her face neutral again the way HR people do when they are making notes with their brain. Okay, she said. Okay, this is not okay. I need to involve legal. Are you comfortable? Could you email these to me? And can you write down what happened today? You won't get in trouble for seeing this. You did nothing wrong. It was strange watching her switch from happy to serious in a blink. It made me feel crazy and sane at the same time. I said yes. Then I said more. It was like a dam broke. I told her about the extra work, the late nights, the way people made jokes about my staying late kink, when I would be the last one in the office eating a granola bar for dinner. I told her about the time I asked for help because I had to take my mom to chemo and Nick said, "Can't your brother do it?" And I had felt my throat close up because I don't have a brother. I told her about the time the team took a long strategy lunch that I wasn't invited to and how I ended up redoing the client sample by myself while they posted pictures of drinks. I told her I had felt small and silly for noticing. Now here it was all in a neat little circle of faces in a chat called Charity Case. Lena's jaw got tighter as I spoke. She wrote on a sticky note without looking down. She asked me if I wanted to go home. I told her I had to pick up my mom anyway, but I could come back later for my things if needed. She shook her head and said, "No, don't come back today. I'll be in touch." I walked out of that office with my heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. For the first time since the ping, I felt something like relief. I wasn't a ghost. I wasn't making it up. My hurt had a source and it had names on it. On the way to the clinic, I called my partner. He has been kind mostly, but he is tired too. He sees me go soft for everyone and then bring nothing home but a headache. I told him what I found. I told him I copied it. I told him I talked to HR. He whistled low. "About time," he said. "I've been saying this for months. You're not their mom." My mom shuffled out to the curb with her scarf tied tight under her chin and her bag of crackers. She saw my face and patted my cheek like I was 5. "Hey," she said. "Hey, we're okay. Did something bad happen?" I told her a version of it she could handle. She has enough on her plate. She reached across the car and squeezed my hand with her papery fingers. "You are enough," she said. "Don't let them use your goodness to make you small." I took her home and set her up with tea and her favorite show. Then I sat on the couch and stared at my phone. It buzzed. It was an email from Lena. "We are taking this very seriously. Please do not speak to your team about this yet. Can you come in tomorrow at 9 to meet with me and legal?" My stomach dropped and then fluttered. Tomorrow. That night I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying names, messages, little moments I could now line up. The time Tom asked me to just finish the deck because you're better at making things pretty, and then he showed it to the client like he had made it. The day Mia told me I was too sweet to negotiate and then told Nick I refused to call the vendor. The afternoon Dana forgot to add me to the calendar invite and then later told me we didn't think you'd want to be there. All the tiny cuts. I had told myself to get thicker skin. Somehow I had never thought maybe I should stop the knife. In the morning, I wore my plain black dress that makes me feel like a person and not a doormat. I packed my face with more calm than I felt. I put a copy of my job description in my bag. I printed my last 3 months of submitted tasks and hours. I'm not a lawyer, but I know how to make a case, and I was done coming empty-handed. In the glass room at 9, Lena sat with a woman from legal who had the kind of sharp eyes that see everything. They asked me to tell the story again, and I did. I gave them the times, the patterns, the names. They asked if I had ever been written up. Never. They asked if I had ever been given a raise or a title since I started. No, I had been the glue, they said. The heart. There's no line item for that. Legal asked if I wanted to make a formal complaint. It felt funny like a question. Wasn't that what I was doing? I said yes. Then the lawyer said something that made my skin prickle. "You should also know the chat included at least one manager. There will be consequences. He asked that you do not discuss this with anyone until we have done our part." I nodded. I asked a simple question in return. "Am I safe?" It was raw and I hated how it sounded. I am not a dramatic person, but I was so tired. The lawyer looked right at me and said, "Yes, you are safe. We will protect you from retaliation." That word, retaliation, sat heavy on the table like a dare. I went back to my desk. I opened my email. I tried to do normal things with my hands while my brain floated above me. The office felt different, quieter, not just to me. People looked through me instead of at me, which honestly was not that new. Lunchtime came and went, and I ate a sad sandwich at my desk like usual. Then my computer pinged with a meeting invite I did not expect. Mandatory team meeting at 3. At 3, we all shuffled into the conference room like sheep. Nick looked pale. Dana kept her arms crossed like a teenager. Tom stared at the table. Mia tried to smile at me and then didn't. Lena stood at the head with legal standing beside her like a wall. She cleared her throat, and it was like a courtroom. "We have conducted a preliminary review of a matter that was brought to our attention," Lena said. "This involves the creation of an unauthorized group chat that included inappropriate comments about a team member and discussions of unfair distribution of work. This behavior is unacceptable and against company policy." No one breathed. My heart climbed into my throat. Lena kept going. She didn't say my name. She didn't have to. "As of today, there will be changes. The individuals who created and participated in this chat will be placed on administrative leave pending further investigation. We will be scheduling one-on-ones with each of you to discuss your roles and responsibilities. We take this very seriously. Retaliation will not be tolerated." The word again. I looked up at Nick when she said leave. He stood up. He didn't look at me. He followed legal out. Dana went to her mouth set. Tom slumped like he wanted to sink through the floor, but he stood. Mia whispered, "This is insane," but she stood up as well. The door closed behind them. The room was still. Someone exhaled. It might have been me. After the few of us who were left, a couple people from other teams who now looked at me like they were seeing me for the first time, sat at our desks and did nothing for a minute. The quiet was different. It didn't hurt. It felt like a space had been cleared. An hour later, a new email. "Jenna, can we meet at 4? It was from a senior manager I had only ever seen in big meetings. I walked into her office like a student called to the principal. She motioned for me to sit. She said, "I'm sorry." Simple. "Then we value your work. We have been blind. That will change." I didn't say I had heard words like that before. I didn't say thanks and smile and let it be. I said I want a title that matches what I do. I want my hours respected. I want an actual team, not just me. And I want a raise, not next year now. My voice shook a little. I let it. She nodded. "We can do the title and the team right away. The raise will go through HR. I'll start it tonight." She looked tired but also clear. "You shouldn't have had to carry this alone." When I walked home, I didn't feel like a hero. I wasn't floating. I felt sore. Like I had been carrying a heavy bag up a hill, and I finally set it down. I told my partner what happened. He grinned. He picked me up off the ground and spun me like we were in a rom-com, which made me laugh for the first time in days. My phone buzzed on the counter. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any of it. You know how it is. Can we talk?" It was Tom. 5 minutes later, a longer one from Mia. "We were just venting. It wasn't about you. It got out of hand. I really like you. You know that." I stared at the screen. I didn't respond. I didn't owe them my comfort. I put the phone face down. My partner handed me a plate of spaghetti. I ate it. I watched a dumb show with my mom, whose laugh is still my favorite sound in the world. I went to bed before 10. In the days after HR did what HR does, form statements, interviews. People whispered, and then they stopped. A temp team came in to handle the backlog that had been my job magically for months. I left at 5 every day unless a true client emergency came up. Guess what? There were fewer emergencies than they said. Funny how that works. I stopped apologizing every time I answered a question. I stopped starting every sentence with just. I stopped cleaning the coffee maker. I started saying, "I can do and be but not see today," and then holding that line even when someone pouted. The sky did not fall. The world did not end. I did my job, and I went home. Nick resigned to pursue other opportunities within 2 weeks. Dana went on leave and then never came back. Tom slid into my inbox with a third apology that started with, "If you were hurt," which is not an apology. Lena stopped by my desk with a cookie one afternoon and said, "You good?" I said, "Getting there." That was true. I got the new title, operations lead. I got the team, 2 hires I picked myself, who I promised I would not turn into little me's. I got the raise, and it wasn't tiny. It wasn't everything, but it felt like someone had finally looked at my pile and said, "Oh, that's a lot." At home, I still took my mom to her appointments. I still made soup and drove and sat in waiting rooms that smell like lemon and fear. But somehow it felt lighter. Not because those things were lighter, but because I stopped trying to make work love me back while I was doing them. Work is work. It pays for the gas and the soup and the soft socks. It is not my family. It is not a church. It is not a place to be a martyr. Some days I still get mad. I think about them laughing over my desk, the picture of my stupid whiteboard with the note from my mom, and I feel my blood heat. Then I think about the moment in that glass room when Lena said, "Not tolerated," and I remember I am not powerless. I remember that being kind and being easy are not the same. I remember the name of the chat, Charity Case, and how sure they were that I would never find out, never push back, never stop being the office parent. They were wrong. I tell myself this now when I feel the old reflex creeping in, the one that wants to say yes to everything because it's safer. I tell myself I am not a fire extinguisher on the wall. I am a person. I have a mom who needs me. I have a life. I have work that I am good at and boundaries that are not rude. They are a fence that keeps me from falling off the edge. If you're reading this hoping I went full scorched earth and made them weep, I didn't. That's not me. I didn't throw a drink. I didn't write a viral email. I took pictures. I told the right people. I asked for what I wanted, and somehow that was enough. It still stings that it took a secret group chat to make anyone see me. It stings that they made a game out of my care. It stings that Lena, who had smiled at me and used words like family, was in there too with her little emoji. It stings that I sat at my desk for months thinking the mean voice in my head was mine when it was theirs. But I am not carrying that sting around like a badge anymore. I am putting it down right here. It happened. I saw it. I said it. And I am okay. Last week I took my mom to the beach on a day when the breeze was soft and the sky looked like it was painted. We sat on a blanket and she ate grapes and we watched a dog dig a hole with joyful focus. She looked at me and said, "You look lighter." I said, "I am." On Monday I walked into the office and the new guy, Mateo, asked me if I had a minute to show him how to file a return. The old me would have said yes and done it for him while I told myself I was helping. The new me said, "I'll show you once and then I'll give you the guide I made with the steps." He smiled and said, "Perfect." We did it together and I didn't pick up the mouse once. At lunch I didn't eat at my desk. I went outside. I sat on a little patch of grass with a sandwich I made myself because I like the way I make them. I watched the sun hit the building across the street and thought my life is mine. It sounds small. It feels huge. Sometimes I think about that chat still floating out there in the cloud, a little tombstone of a time when people who could have been my team chose to be a pack instead. And I think that's not on me. Their cruelty is not my project. Their jokes are not my job. My job is my job. My love is my family. My time is my own. If you have that itch in your gut that says this isn't right, listen to it. If you feel like maybe you're being used, you probably are. If you think your kindness is a faucet, they won't ever turn off unless you do your right. I accidentally discovered my coworkers had a secret group chat about me and it cracked me open. It could have flattened me, for a minute it did. But then it let the light in. I saw everything. I saw them, and I saw myself standing there in a room with a plate of stale muffins and a stupid HDMI cord balancing 1,000 things, still showing up, still trying. I'm done trying to impress people who think my life is a joke. I'm done being a case. I'm Jenna. I'm enough, and I know it now.